By 1982, both the Halloween and Friday the 13th franchises had pumped out 3 films each. Slasher mania was in full swing, but it hit a brick wall when Freddy Krueger changed the rules in 1984. While indie distributors everywhere were looking for a piece of the major's pie, Universal Pictures struck gold when they decided to resurrect the character responsible for Halloween and its imitators. In 1983, Universal Pictures unleashed Norman Bates on slasher audiences more than 2 decades after his screen debut in the ambitious and risky sequel, Psycho 2. Originally conceived as a made-for-cable event film, Psycho 2 was soon greenlit for theaters when Vera and Anthony Perkins signed on to reprise their iconic characters from the original. Psycho 2 also features then-newcomer Meg Tilly, budding actor Dennis Franz, and veteran actor Robert Loggia. It was directed by Hitchcock student and devotee Richard Franklin, who also had a horror hit with the Australian-made Road Games. Psycho 2 reintroduced Norman Bates to a new audience and spawned its own respectable sequel, Psycho 3, directed by Anthony Perkins himself. Let's head to the screening room and have a look at Psycho 2. Psycho 2 finds Norman Bates, 22 years after being institutionalized for criminal insanity, returning to a society as a free man, much to the dismay of Lila Samuels, the former Lila Crane, sister of the slain Marion Crane from the original Psycho.
Are you satisfied, Doctor? Turning a murderer loose on an innocent public?
Mrs. Loomis, Norman was not convicted of murder. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity. And since he is no longer
That is just legal
much of a right
hocus pocus.
The film's credibility leans entirely on the returns of Perkins as Bates. His return is triumphant. Perkins portrays a Norman Bates attempting to assimilate into a society that he'd never truly been a part of, even though his indoctrinated understanding of morality is simply textbook.
What kind of a motel are you running here?
The kind that makes money.
This creates an interesting subtext in which contemporary American life during the Reagan years quickly turned from the free lifestyle of the 1970s to a suddenly conservative 1980s. Historically, an interesting examination of the coexistence of morality and capitalism during this conservative shift presents itself through this subtext.
Any more rooms in this motel?
At least my customers have a good time. What'd yours get, Bates, huh? Dead, that's what they got. Dead, murdered by you, you loony!
It should also be pointed out that this tale of a former criminally insane patient being preemptively returned to society due to budget cuts in mental health care hints at President Reagan's years as governor of California, where cuts to mental health funding left many formerly institutionalized victims sick and homeless.
I don't mean to hurt your feelings or anything, but Myrna was talking about you at the diner today. Mrs. Fu kept on telling her to shush, but she wouldn't. She said you'd been locked up.
That must have been Mary.
Norman finds himself a friend in co-worker Mary Samuels. It isn't long before we discover that someone is trying to make Norman look crazy with the intentions of having him recommitted, and all signs point to Lila Loomis. Like its source material, Psycho 2 is a whodunit, but its pacing mirrors that of other contemporary slashers of the time. And this is what makes Psycho 2 remarkable. It takes the slasher formula and turns it into something a little more sophisticated, something compelling, with fully fleshed out characters and an infamous mythology that has become a mainstay in horror and entertainment culture. Psycho 2 remains engaging because when written, directed, and acted by competent personnel, Norman Bates is both sympathetic and threatening. Even when we believe in Norman's sanity, we're forced to reckon with the likely possibility that he does not. Psycho 2 is written, directed, and acted better than most horror pictures of the period, let alone slasher sequels. Psycho 2 is so good that I would dare say it's the best horror sequel of any major franchise. Even the universally revered Halloween 2 has flaws that a big-budget studio picture should not be forgiven for. And while Psycho 2 isn't exactly 100% plausible, we are never distracted from the narrative by shortcomings in acting, editing, or directing. Psycho 2 is a definite win for anyone who has fallen in love with the character of Norman Bates. It's a must-see for fans of classic slashers, and is entertaining enough to pacify the casual viewer and film buffs looking to expand their knowledge of the classics by exploring their sequels. During the production of Psycho 2, a strained relationship between leads Perkins and Tilly led to tension on the set. Competent director Richard Franklin managed to keep things cool and delivered a marvelous 5-slash sequel to the granddaddy of the genre. Psycho 2 is available on this triple feature budget release from Universal Pictures, and an excellent collector's edition is available on Blu-ray from Scream Factory. I'm Chaz Klimczak, and you've been watching Klimczak's Killer Collection. I'll be seeing you again soon.
Night, Mr. Wawa.
Do 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 do.